What's up, Coach Gene Clemens here with my top 5 wide receivers in Savannah this season, my preseason top 5 wide receivers. I'm not going to do a preseason top 5 on every position. I'm just doing the preseason top 5 on positions that I think were very interesting. And at the top of the list is wide receiver. Um, I think there are an abundance of wide receivers out there that are going to be really, really good, but I can only choose from a couple. And so I have the top 5 guys that I think will be the best guys in Savannah this year. And I'm going to share them with you. Obviously, I would have loved to have been at Media Day, but have a day job. So I wasn't able to talk to those young men and hopefully talk to their coaches. But we can do the next best thing, and that's look at the film. Up first for me at number 5, Trey Brown, wide receiver from Jenkins. It's Eugene Trey Brown. He goes by Trey, wide receiver out of Jenkins. He did not get an opportunity to play last year. And so, because he didn't get an opportunity to play last year because he transferred from Islands over to Jenkins, people may have forgotten how good he is, but he definitely hit the scene again during 7-on-7. We're going to take a look back at his work from the year prior, from his I believe his sophomore season. This was a first 3 highlight that he put together from his sophomore year, and you can already begin to see why he has some traits that people are absolutely in love with. He's tall, he's athletic. Look at him on the double move. He has some of the best hands in the county. You see him here working in the slot. Watch how he's able to block, get his hands on when he wants to. Nothing killing anybody, but enough to allow his wide receiver to be able to get busy behind him. You see him here. He's going to work the middle of the field. See how he weaves around, turns, catches the ball, continues to be able to move after it. Right here again, he's going to work the middle of the field. Rolls right in, looks back. Ball gets to him. Obviously, as a sophomore, he wants to be able to get those things into the end zone, but that's going to come over time. Again, able to get the ball going, and this time he does get into the end zone. So you can see the talent already from a young man like this at an early age. Again, watch him blocking. Tenacity, able to keep his hands on the guy. And this is why you see so much promise from the young man in that capacity. It's interesting because you also see him getting busy in 7-on-7 this year for Team Dimes. He was able to really burst on the scene, make a name for himself in that respect as well. You think that a young man like this has all the potential, especially in an offense like they're going to be running this year, where they're going to be doing more wing T. They should be run heavy. Jenkins was run heavy under me last year, and that leaves a lot of one-on-one matchups out there on the outside for a wide receiver. So with a guy with his size, with his speed, with his athleticism, he should have a really good year for the Warriors. Now, my number 4 guy, Abbasi Scott from Windsor Forest. Another young man who is long and athletic, able to really high point the ball well. I think that when we talk about guys who are really good or who have an opportunity to have really, really stellar seasons, you can't help but notice those guys that bring that physical athleticism to the table, but also the size, because that size is something you can't really get away from. So once again, here we're looking at this highlight from last season for Scott. And again, you can just see, I've seen him already this year. He's way more filled out this year than he was last year. And so when we look at what he's doing, see how he's able to make people miss, and now he shows off the speed. That speed is something we can't ignore. And that's what I like about it. It's like that type of speed, you have to pay attention to that type of speed. Over there, look, that deep ball goes to him. He high points it. He doesn't wait for it to fall into his lap. Over here, he's on the left side, outside, ready to make a play. You kind of know what's coming. They don't roll the safety over the top. The ball is out. He's going up and making a play on it. He made several touchdowns like this last year where he was able to how to point the ball. You knew once it was getting to the red zone, this was an obvious play for Windsor Forest there. He's able to fight for the ball over the defender and bring it in. And again, like I said, this is a young man who is bigger this year. He looks stronger. He looks even more athletic, more fast. And I think that that's only going to help him as he continues to grow. Right there, look how far beyond the defense he is. He has to actually wait for the ball to come back to him before he's able to get that touchdown. Right here, slant, he catches it. Look at the quick turn, breaks the tackle. Just those types of skills, again, those types of skills make you invaluable as a wide receiver. And with him sporting that larger frame, with him being able to show off all of those dynamics, I think he's set and poised to have a phenomenal year as a wide receiver here in Savannah. Number 3 for me, George Futch. And you could make an argument that Futch could be higher within this 5. I don't necessarily hold it against him that he's playing at Savannah Christian, although I do have to acknowledge that there are some receivers who are playing against, per capita might be better talented or more talented teams. And so while I'm pretty confident that Futch would do work anywhere, I do acknowledge that, his competition in some of his games may not be at the level of some others' competition. But again, we see him get busy immediately on the kickoff return, the dynamic that he brings to the table, able to break it. And what I really like about Futch is his stride when he gets into the open field. When he gets into the open field, he really has a beautiful stride. He's working out, and he's able to get into the end zone a lot. And you have to love that about a guy. Watch this interception. I left this on here. I know he's playing wide receiver, but just watch the stride. No one's going to catch this young man in the open field with that stride. And that's what you have to love about him as a receiver. When he gets into open field, he can really make things happen. Here he is again, catches the short pass. Watch how quickly he gets to full speed, and he is gone. And that level of athleticism, and look at that stride again, knees up, absolutely break the tape. It's a beautiful thing to watch him, run the ball. And so I like the fact that he's got a really strong frame on him. But man, when he gets out there in that open field, he is leaving. And that's the one thing you really got to love about Futch. He's a physical wide receiver. He's got a physical presence about him. But man, the fact that he's able to turn and then get to full speed so quickly is a skill that a lot of wide receivers do not possess. And it's a reason why Futch is going to have a phenomenal season again for Savannah Christian. Number 2, probably the most versatile guy on the list, Zaquan Bryan. And by the way, Zaquan is the only sophomore. Well, I think he'll be a junior this year. Excuse me. He's the only underclassman that I believe is on this list. And so it just tells you how good he is, because he was able to make this list over some guys who are going into their senior year. And I tend to want to give props to guys who are going into their senior year. So the fact that he's on here, the fact that he is only going into his junior year tells you how good this young man is. And he gets started early. If you have not watched this highlight, I encourage you to watch it because he gets busy right off the bat. This is on a jet sweep. Look at him move, cutting, and now he's using the speed to get out into the open field. Okay, we're back. Using that speed to get out into the open field. Again, this young man just has this ability. Watch him. They throw the ball up. Watch him. He's wide open. And that guy who already was at full speed running him down still didn't have a chance to catch him once he was able to take off. Now, ball goes up for Bryan. Look how far beyond the defender he is. And that's because he has that elite level speed. And then he has that shiftiness that you like. But right in here, he's just showing off the speed, just blowing by defensive backs. Here you see him work through. Able to high point that ball. And even though he's not able to get into the end zone, you can see the skills. Watch him here. Catches the ball with his hands, immediately stiff arms, gets shifty, and gets up the field. I think that he's going to have a phenomenal season for Benedictine, not only as a receiver, but getting carries out of the backfield, returning the ball. He's a young man who really has an opportunity to cement himself as one of the best athletes to come out of this area in a long time, depending upon what he does this year. But that's number two. For me, number one, Langston Lewis, Islands High School. I can tell you from firsthand experience, Lewis had a phenomenal season in 2020. He's going to have a phenomenal season in 2021. It just depends on if he's going to be able to get beyond all of the double teams that he will shortly command this year. And we can see him right here early on. If the ball goes up, and keep in mind, he's not 6'3". He's about 6 foot, but he plays bigger than what he is listed as. He is constantly going up and snagging the ball out of the air. Watch him here. He's just higher than everyone else. And then he uses his physical build to be able to break tackles and make things happen after the catch. He is probably not the fastest, but he is definitely the most physical of all of these young men in the top 5. He's not slow, so don't get it twisted. He'll run by you, as you can see versus us last year. He's running, but see how he goes up and just is able to high point that ball, tip it to himself, make a play. He did that all year last year, and he's going to do it all year this year because he's a really good wide receiver. Just see how they have every desire to throw that ball up to him. Right here is an excellent play. Looks like the defender has a bead on him, and he literally just snatches it out of the defender's hand. Over and over and over again, he makes those catches. I would put his hands and Trey Brown's hands as probably the two best hands from receivers in the area. But I do think that Langston Lewis does the best job of high pointing the ball in that respect. He just knows how to get that ball at the highest point. Here you can see him do some running after the catch. But really his gift is that physical strength, his physical nature, being able to high point that ball. So That is my preseason top 5 wide receivers in Savannah. Number 1, Langston Lewis. Number 2, Zaquan Bryan. Number 3, George Futch. Number 4, Abbasi Scott. And number 5, Eugene Trey Brown. I hope all these young men and all of the young men that I haven't named, those guys who are just on the fringe that are looking to break out, I want to see how many of these young men that I vote into my postseason top 5. So until next time, I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Y'all stay safe on the field.